Hi, I'm Mary.
And I'm Katie, and this is the Housewife Did It.
Pop Culture Edition. Season 3 edition.
Woo!
So exciting. We took a break again for the winter holidays. We're back with season 3. Um, we do have some new shirts available in the merch shop. You can look at, and you can like, subscribe, share with people you know, especially now that it's a new season. It's a great time to
Mm-hmm.
start fresh.
Yeah.
Um, so we have, like I said, we took a break, a lengthy-ish break.
I
So we
feel
have,
well rested.
and yes, it was great. However, Bravo fell
Did
apart
not take a break.
in our absence. So now we have to go through all of the things that happened while we were gone.
Mm-hmm.
So buckle up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I figure we should start because we always put tragic events somewhere in the middle and then we
Yes.
regret it. So I figure we should start with what's probably all over everyone's everything. These wildfires in California. So far, 10 people have died. Over 150,000 people have been evacuated from their homes. Lots of people have lost their homes. Obviously, non celebrities we don't hear about, but
Right.
lots of celebrities too have lost huge homes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the tellers, Paris Hilton said the worst part was that she watched her house burn down on live TV. Which, yeah, I can't even imagine being
Yeah.
so famous that they're like, let's just keep the cameras on Paris
Right.
Hilton's house, and then you're like, please
Yes.
take it off.
Yeah.
Um, so
I
it's bad.
saw I saw a video today of, like, right before we logged on, of Heidi Montag
Mm,
crying about their house, and she was like, she was just saying, like, I think their house, the way she was saying it, I don't think their house has burned down,
mm-hmm.
but she was just saying, like, I feel very homesick.
Yeah.
I just want to take my kids home, and I want to
Mm-hmm.
be in my house with my things. And people were commenting on it and were like, well, think about the people who don't have a vacation home to go to. And, like, yeah, like,
Sure.
she's so lucky that she has a place to go for free. Like, she
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to search for housing or put someone out or pay for housing. But also, like, it's valid no matter what kind of home situation you have. It's valid to mourn the loss of your home or
Yeah.
fear of losing your home
Yeah.
or just displacement of your home
Mm-hmm.
in any form.
Yeah.
Um,
And it sounds like firefighters are doing really great at like anytime they can, they're grabbing photo albums. They're grabbing
yeah,
pictures off people's walls. They're obviously grabbing like dogs. Like they're
right.
doing whatever they can and they intend to like
Yeah,
try to get these things back to people cuz like
yeah,
yeah, like who cares like
yeah,
that it's expensive stuff like all of your stuff being gone or even like Lala posted she obviously has another place she can go stay but like she left because her baby couldn't breathe at
right,
night so it's
right.
like that's still just like
Yeah,
horrifying.
yeah. Stassi posted that they have not left.
Yeah, a lot of people are just like
Um,
I'm packed and I'm waiting.
yes. She said that they've packed all of their, like, keepsakes. They've packed all of their keepsakes and necessities, but she said that last night, which I am not a mom shamer by any
Mm.
means. I'm not a mom, but when she said, like, she was giving her kids a bath
And she could
and,
see it
like,
from every window.
crying watching the fires out the window, I was like,
Yeah.
I would be losing, which, like, that's
Yeah.
obviously not the time to leave because you would be heading out toward it, I guess.
Yeah,
But,
but
like,
then when
that's
is
so
the time to leave?
scary.
When it, yeah, I was talking about this with people at work, and I said, like, I'm not at all like shaming these people, more so like I'm surprised that we don't
Yeah.
treat fires the way we treat like hurricanes and things.
Right.
We don't, because people are saying, like, once it touches my backyard, then I'll leave. Um, and because a lot of people I've seen on the news, they're like, it's here, so now I'm going. And like, that's what they're waiting on. And I guess, like,
That's
yeah,
crazy.
you can get around it. But like, yeah, it just sounds like so scary. If I can see the fire,
Right.
I'm out. Like, that's enough for
Right.
me. Like, nah.
Yeah. I was gonna say something else. Oh, I was gonna say, I think what you were talking about the firefighters, I know that a lot of the firefighters who are out there are like incarcerated
Mm-hmm.
people, and the incarcerated firefighters are obviously not being paid the same amount or in the same way as the career firefighters. So I think that that's like also like the fact that they are still doing everything they can
Right.
to like protect these people's belongings and their family and their sense of home
Mm-hmm.
is great. Um, Something about her posted that they have a shelf of free fresh bread outside of their shop for anyone who needs food. Airbnb is offering a week of free housing to anyone coming from that like LA, Santa Monica area. If you can like prove, I guess, that that's the area you're coming from, they'll give you a free week at an Airbnb somewhere else. And certain resorts are offering discounted pricing for those who need a place to stay. So Gabby, Wendy, and her girlfriend are at, I don't know where it is, maybe in Vegas.
Maybe.
I don't
Yeah.
remember, but they posted a picture from a resort that they're staying at, and they said that they told them it's, I think it wasn't that great a deal, to be honest. It was like 35% off
Sure.
your stay.
But
Um,
if you
but
got the
yeah, if you're an
means,
influencer, if you're a
yeah.
former bachelorette, that maybe let the Airbnbs go to the people
Mm-hmm.
who aren't former bachelorettes.
Right.
But yeah, so there's a lot of good happening
Yeah.
in it. And I did also want to mention, did you see Katie Maloney's post today?
Yeah. I put
Okay.
it in like the
Okay.
Vanderpump section, but yeah, she's obviously, like all of them, been posting about the fire, and then
Yeah,
just what a double whammy.
I
She
know.
posted today that her dad passed. So
Yeah. I was like
yeah.
I was like cuz I I don't think she and Ariana have left either, because
Mm-hmm.
they said that something about her reopened yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and is open again for the time being. So I'm assuming they're still there. And so like one, like that fear of like being there, or do I need to evacuate, having to pack up all your stuff just in case. And then on top of that, having a business there that you have to then like make decisions about, and then your father dies is just ugh.
Yeah.
And I like the way she started the post. She said like, I'm a stranger to
To
grief.
grief.
And I was
Yeah.
like, that's like such a good point. Is like we see like we saw on Vanderpump Rules, like Ariana, she got hit back to back to back with
Right.
these deaths. Her father, I think her dad died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, her dad died, her grandmother died, Charlotte died. She got cheated on and lost a 9-year relationship, all back to back to back.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing people say is like, I'm no stranger to grief, but like for for Katie, this is like her first real like
Yeah.
deep loss, and I think that that's so valid to be like, I don't know what's happening, like I don't know how to handle this.
Yeah.
This is very new to me.
Yeah. God. Yeah. What a week.
Yeah. Um it's still such a weird transition. Drag Race is back.
Well, that's tragic, and now we're gonna lift your spirits.
Yeah, we'll come back to tragic stuff later. Like in a second. Drag Race is back. We have these are some fun queens. They are fucking weird.
Mm.
What I am pleased with is no eliminations week 1. I hate when Big Brother does it. I hate when Drag Race does it. What they did do though, I think that we've gotten to a point where they are finally like every week 1 is talent show.
Yeah.
Always opening with talent show. And what they did was they let the queens decide, do you want to do your talent week 1 or week 2?
Okay.
And so 7 of them did week 1 talent for Katy Perry, and 7 of them will do it next week, or I guess today, for a different judge. And so one thing that was really cool was Katy Perry came in to like talk to them while they were getting ready, and she immediately recognized one of the queens because she was a huge Katy Perry fan, and she was like, "Oh my God, like I'm so proud of you that you're here." She's like, "When I met you, you were just starting in drag," and when Katy Perry left, that the girl broke down. Like she was like, "I just love her so much, and that's so validating, and that like she knows me." But then when it came to like judging and critiques, she really, I don't think, wanted to say anything bad about her.
Sure.
Like she was like, "I love her so much." Like when she came out on the runway, she like leaned over to RuPaul and she was like, "She's like the OG, like #1 Katy Cat in the world. Like she, like we're on the same plane," and like she loves her, which was, it was so cute. But like,
Yeah.
I think it made judging kind of awkward.
Yeah.
But like I said, they're really fun and weird, and they brought back Rate a Queen. So for the talent show, like I said, no eliminations, but they did Rate a Queen, and I think the elimination will be next week. They picked a bottom queen, and I think this week they'll pick a bottom queen from the second set of 7, and they will lip sync for their lives. But they did do a lip sync for the win.
Okay.
For the top 2 queens, and she got $5,000. I really like Lexi Love so far. I'm a sucker for a queen who comes in and is like, "I have paid my fucking dues in this industry." And like she's been doing drag for 13 years, and she's not even that old. I think she's probably like in her 40s maybe. And she's by far the oldest one there. Sammy really loves Susie Toot.
Sounds like
He
lovely.
loves Susie Toot. I was talking about her at school. I said, "Do y'all watch Drag Race?" And everyone was like, "No." And I was like, "Sammy loves Susie Toot," and they were like, "Susie Toot." She's a 1920s tap dancer.
Cute.
So, and she won last week.
Nice.
So yeah, that's how Drag Race is going so far.
I guess this next thing would have been a perfect
I know
segue. So tragedy did hit the Drag Race community. So the Vivian, or James Lee Williams from Drag Race UK, who I don't know, but like have since become aware of,
yes,
was found dead by their father. That's so tragic. This weekend, and they were only 32 years old. I have not seen what happened. I did some digging, and all I saw is that police have ruled out like foul play. I don't know if like it's suicide or drug related, and we're just trying to like keep that under wraps, or if it was genuinely just like random. Like I just have no clue.
If they had health concerns.
Sure, yeah.
I think you assume with that age,
at 32,
that like it's something like nefarious in some way, even if it's not like a murder, like something icky happened. I don't know, but like you don't know when people are sick or whatever. And also, speaking of Drag Race, we had a crossover between Drag Race and Bravo.
Wow.
Detox was the primary charter guest on this week's episode of Below Deck Sailing Yacht. She brings another drag queen with her who I don't recognize, and I can't remember the name, but she's causing drama. Detox is funny. She's great. She's living her life. This other girl is like, "This food is terrible," and everyone else is like, "Girl, you're lying. Like, it's great. Shut the fuck up." And she's like, "No, I want you to send a complaint to the chef." And so she's just causing problems. But the season is getting good. So I know you don't watch Below Deck, but do you remember we talked about last season. It was the one with the Colin, Daisy, Gary, Mads, Alex drama.
Mm-hmm. Pentagon.
Where, yes. So that's kind of already setting the scene for this season. This season, Colin is gone.
Okay.
Obviously, he said, "Fuck this shit, I'm out." So we have a new engineer, and he's Fwench. Gary's a changed man, though. He has not hooked up with a single person this season and doesn't show any interest in it unless Daisy comes around, which good for him. One deckhand, the only female deckhand, gets fired early on, and Chase from last season is brought back in, which Daisy and Gary are not super excited about. But when Chase is brought in, since it was a female deckhand that left, they have to rearrange the rooms a little bit. Because they don't want to put Chase would have had to room with Daisy, and they were like, no, thank you. So instead, Gary moves in with Daisy. Genius. Genius idea. And Daisy this season is interested in a deckhand named Keith. And she and Keith both separately go to Gary and ask him for like permission
to like be together.
Yes, to like proceed
to court.
With liking each other, which I think is weird. And he's like, yeah, I don't fucking care. Cool. He does care. He cares a lot, actually. But the chef this season is 22 years old. His name is Cloyce.
Cute.
And he's very into Daisy. Daisy's 35.
Oh.
She is not interested in 22-year-old Cloyce. And so he's sad boy because she and Keith are really hitting it off. And she said like she thinks it's cute that Cloyce has a crush on her, but she's like, I'm 35. Like, I'm not going to pursue him. That's odd. But he's real sad about it. Also, there is a Stu who has been like flirting. I want to like be careful how I word this because I don't want it to sound like slut shamey. But there's a Stu who's been like flirting or hooking up with a couple of crew members and one guy that she met in a club when she went out with the guests. So they're in Ibiza. And so it's like big club party scene. So they take the guests to clubs sometimes, and she met a club promoter and she brought him back to the boat and hooked up with him.
Okay.
She flirted with Gary a little bit, but Gary's a changed man. Nothing happened. She had a thing. Yeah, she had a thing with Keith, but Keith didn't like that she was like flirting with him during the work day.
Okay.
And he was like, he told her like, hey, I don't think that's appropriate in front of the guests. I don't think it's appropriate while I'm trying to get my job done. We can flirt later. And she was like, he's not giving me attention. Boo. And so then when Chase comes in, the other Stu was like, okay, yay, my turn. Like, she's called dibs on every other fucking man on this boat.
Yeah.
New guy is for me. And Danny, which is the Stu's name, was like, nope. Mine also. So now she and Chase are hooking up.
Cool.
Which, I mean, I'm not shaming her.
Get your bag, girl.
Yeah. But the other girl did very clearly say when he walked on the boat, the second he walked on the boat, he's really cute. I want him. And she said, fuck no. Danny also caused some drama this week. And I want to get your opinion on it because I think that, like, we forget on these shows like Below Deck, Vanderpump Rules, Southern Hospitality, that, like, this is a show about people ultimately doing their jobs. We're watching them work. And so they can't act and speak like Real Housewives.
Sure.
Because they are in a place of work. So Danny pulls Daisy aside. Daisy's the chief Stu.
Okay.
AKA Danny's boss, her head of department.
Sure.
She pulls her aside and she says, I am losing my passion for this job.
Okay.
I am not happy right now. I don't feel very motivated. And you are not making me feel like I want to become motivated because you don't seem to care about the job either.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says, you're always shouting at us, but then you also spend a lot of time not working. And Daisy said, I shout at you. Daisy's Irish. Said, I shout at you. And she said, well, yeah, like the other day. The other day, what Danny's talking about is that her and Chase were kissing in the, like, where the captain steers the boat.
Mm.
In the middle of the day, they were just hugging and kissing and, like, walking and, like, chilling. And Daisy walked by and said, I'm sure you two could find something to do right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because she is Danny's boss.
Mm-hmm.
And she's seeing her employees sit there do nothing when there are guests that could be served or things. And so basically, Danny's talking about this specific situation frustrated her because she said, like, I see you sitting around doing nothing all the time too.
Okay.
So Daisy took some time to think about it. And then she pulled her aside separately. And she said, like, I thought about what you said. Ultimately, that was incredibly inappropriate. Like, I am your superior.
Mm-hmm.
You do not speak to me that way. And it is not my job to motivate you to want to do your job.
Kind of
So,
seems like it is though. Like
so that's, yeah,
if you wanna be like, I'm your superior, like as someone's
yeah.
superior, like it kind of is your job to like help them do their job.
But then I think, like, she said, like, the one incident that Danny's so upset
Sure.
about, she had said, like, find something to do.
Right.
And, like, maybe she didn't say it like, what do you want to do right now? What are you passionate about doing right now that's not kissing Chase? But, like, I don't know. And Daisy said, like, she's like, I have never been spoken to that way, especially not by a junior stew member, a junior crew member. Um, and, but I feel like I have seen on Below Deck specifically, I've seen people talk to chiefs that way. I feel like I've seen people talk to Leva that way on Southern Hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen people talk to Lisa that way on Vanderpump Rules. And I think that, like, Bravo
Mm-hmm.
doing shows like this, like, for some reason blurs the lines on, like,
Yeah.
what's appropriate to say.
Because you're working two
But
jobs. You're working two
right.
jobs at once. And on one of the jobs, you may be making the same. You may be like you're both cast members and you started at the
Mhm.
same time. So you're making the same amount. And you're here to provide entertainment, you know?
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, of course it gets blurry.
Right. But apparently that that night that that episode aired, I guess, Danny and the others do Deanna were the guests on Watch What Happened Live. Watch What
Okay.
Happens Live. And Andy asked them, would you ever want to work with Daisy again? And both of them said no. And so Danny told Deanna what she said to Daisy, and Deanna told her, like, I cannot believe you said that. That's not appropriate. And,
Mm-hmm.
like, you can't talk to her that way. And she told her, like, I don't agree. Like, she was like, I don't think Daisy shouts at us. I think Daisy is a great chief stew, and truthfully, like, I really prefer Daisy as a chief stew to some of the other ones I've had who are, like, very, like, authoritarian, who dish out, like, punishments for, like, talking to them that way. What,
Mm-hmm.
because probably because they're not on TV. Um
Mm-hmm.
but so on Watch What Happens Live, they both said they would not want to work with Daisy again. And they said that she is very disorganized as a chief stew and that it's very, like, difficult to work with her. So then Daisy made a TikTok and she talked about, like, what had happened that week. And she said that, like, when, like, Deanna was saying, or not Deanna, Danny was saying that she was, like, taking a lot of breaks and sitting around. And she was like, I do want to clarify, like, we, Ibiza was in, like, a heat wave when we were filming. So, like, yes, I was taking breaks because I was getting really hot up on deck and we were, like,
Yeah.
taking turns, but I wasn't sitting and kissing.
Mm-hmm.
and flirting. Like, I was taking a break because I was overheated. But then she said at the end of the TikTok, she said, like, well, I would rather work with a disorganized chief stew over either of them because they're mean girls. So.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
I mean,
when the drama goes off the show.
Yeah, of course. I don't actually find it inappropriate to go have a conversation with your boss and say, like, I'm struggling with this and you're not helping. Obviously, I didn't watch how she said it or, like, in what setting she said it. So I don't think it's, like, inappropriate to bring concerns to your superior.
Yeah.
But also...
Yeah, I love my boss.
If the thing you're mad about is that you got reprimanded for kissing on the job, then, like, yeah, of course you do.
Yeah, I love my boss. I have a very good relationship with her, but I also, like, she'll ask me, like, hey, how do you feel about this? And I'll say, like, I don't like this, the way this is. Like, she asked me how I felt about the way we did parent teacher conferences, and I was like, I didn't like it. I liked it better before. And, like, but I think, and so there's nothing wrong with telling your boss or department head or whatever, like, I wish this were going differently. But, like, I think the way she presented it, she wanted to hurt Daisy's feelings.
Yeah.
And that's what Daisy said too. She said, like, the way it was said to me felt like she was attacking my character and like she was trying to be mean. And I agree with that.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Another show that has come back is The Traitors. The first 3 episodes just dropped. I haven't watched them, but I am so excited for this year's cast. It is a good one. So I will only list the people to you that I'm excited about. So if you're like, oh no, she didn't say so and so, my bad. But this is about me. Sorry. Yeah. Bob the Drag Queen is on. Brittany Haynes from Big Brother. Chrishell from Selling Sunset. Sierra Miller from Summer House. Incredible.
And we know why she's there.
Yeah. Dolores from Housewives of New Jersey. Dorinda Medley is on the cast list. That was the drama, right? Was with Dorinda. It was like Dorinda. Yeah, but Dorinda had like leaked the Lindsay thing or something.
Yeah, something like, well, so like, yeah, Sierra was put on the cast because originally Lindsay was supposed to be on the cast,
right?
And then they found out she was pregnant, and
yeah,
so
but
they
I'm just saying it had something to do with Dorinda.
Yeah.
So Dorinda Medley from Roni, Gabby Wendy is on. Boston Rob from older Survivor days. Robin Dixon from Housewives of Potomac. Britney Spears' ex-husband, named Sam Asghari. The more important part was that he's Britney Spears' ex-husband.
That's like her most recent ex-husband?
I think, right?
Right? Okay.
Tom Sandoval, Wells Adams from all of Bachelor Nation. And in a season twist, they introduced 2 new people sometime in these first 3 episode drops. I don't know one of them, but the second one is Derek Levasseur from Big Brother. Or from Crime Weekly.
Yeah.
The podcast.
My favorite meme, I did see the pictures of Chrishell and the host, like, tearing Sandoval a new one. My favorite meme is people who, like, the picture of Robin Dixon, they're like, I don't know who this woman is, but she looks like a PI already. Like, she's got this in the bag. And then people are like, she couldn't even figure out that her own husband was cheating on her.
Yeah.
And he was doing it in public.
Yeah, I think you'd be more scared of Dolores. Dolores probably has some, like, mafia connections. Yeah. Special Forces has also returned with a not great celebrity cast list. They're usually like as I was writing these, I was like Stephen Baldwin, Brody Jenner, and I almost wrote like sounds like a season of that
Claim to Fame.
Yeah. I was like, cool. It's just the leftovers. Allie
It's like
and
that scene in Fred Claus.
yeah, exactly. The little
Mm-hmm.
what's it called?
Brother
Group.
support group.
Yeah. Allie and Trista from The Bachelorette are on. Denise Richards is on, which if she's not out in the first freaking week, like I'll be shocked. Kayla Nicole, who is Travis Kelce's ex-girlfriend, is on, and I've seen a clip of her like already talking about Taylor Swift. It doesn't sound like she said anything bad, but that's like interesting because she has had nothing but bad things to say the whole time.
She has trouble keeping Taylor Swift's name out her mouth.
Yeah, but it was like
In general.
she just said like my ex, and someone was like, who's your ex? And she like went behind a wall and was like whispering, and she was like, Travis Kelce. And they were like, okay. And she was like, he's dating Taylor Swift now. And they said, oh, funny. And I'm like, you didn't know that? And then I think people were saying that she said like, I like her, or like something nice about her, but like it didn't seem that way.
Yeah.
But whatever. Guess we'll wait and see. And then I really thought that like we had kind of gotten our final answers on this Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively stuff. And now I'm thinking like until we get a Johnny Depp Amber Heard style public case, like we don't know.
But even look, I still don't know what to think about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, to be quite honest. Like, people are like, everyone is lying on the stand. Like,
yeah,
everyone's siding with the wrong person. I'm lost.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be lost forever.
Yeah. So right before Christmas, Blake Lively revealed her complaints against Justin Baldoni, including sexual harassment on set while filming It Ends With Us. And it seems that most people, other than like straight up like misogynists, were like, oh, okay, like here's evidence. There's like texts. There's like, this is pretty robust. It's like 80 pages. Like, this is a lot to show that like this guy was like at bare minimum creepy, and then at other times like HR's worst nightmare. Right. So cool, like we're kind of all on page, or on the same page. Yeah. Then like all these celebrities are coming out and saying I'm on Blake Lively's side. Hannah Berner had to issue an apology because she had made a Blake Lively joke in something before that had come out. Liz Plank, the only female co-host on Justin Baldoni's podcast Man Enough, who also runs, I think her Instagram is Feministabulous. She even left the company after the lawsuit, kind of making it clear that like she was on Blake Lively's side. Yeah. But now I'm confused again.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna add some of the things that like had come out, like that you said like seemed like evidence or like proof, was like text messages between like him and his media team. Right. That they were like, here are things like, that he said.
We fell for the smear campaign.
Telling us to smear her. And like we talked about this a little bit at Christmas. Like ultimately, especially the old stuff that people were bringing up that she's a mean girl, like she did say those things. And we also talked about like Gina Rodriguez, who was on Jane the Virgin with Justin Baldoni. She was canceled for things she said that she shouldn't have said. But it also, yes, she did say those things. But it also made me wonder, like, was the reason it got so like widespread also because of like the same reasons, like he was saying, like spread this everywhere kind of thing. And so it did seem like I think we can separate those things. Like Blake Lively maybe isn't very nice, and he did these things that were creepy or inappropriate, and then asked them to really amp up the messaging against her. Right. And like,
if you roll the tapes, I had been saying on here that like I've always gotten a weird vibe from him. I think like when you're not that men should not be allowed to be emotionally intelligent and run podcasts based on that, but it never seemed real to me. It seemed
Yes.
very like, oh my god, like he needs
Yeah.
us to know he cries and like
Right.
cool. And early in the it ends with us filming, or early in like our knowledge
Mhm.
of it, Billy's saying like, did you see this dude already has to have a crisis PR team? So it's like, I
Yeah.
think that already like I was sus. And
Right.
so then when the Blake Lively stuff came out, I was like, dang, like I guess I'm wrong, and like this is me just siding with women all the time, and
Yeah.
I've been bamboozled. It's all Blake Lively's fault.
Yeah.
Then this comes out, and I'm like, no,
And
I was right. I should
right.
have listened to my gut that women are telling the truth. And then now
We
I'm
were like,
like,
fuck off, mom. Our mom was like, she was mean. And we were like, no, fuck off. But
yeah,
like, also, I was gonna say, what was I gonna say? Oh, a lot of the stuff that people were saying, oh, like she was like very shallow because she was only talking about like the fashion and stuff of like what
sure,
Lily Bloom wears, and like they came out and said that like that's what we told her to say
right.
to keep it lighthearted in
That was
interviews,
the
and
strategy we
then
told her to use.
yes, and then they released his wedding vows,
Mm-hmm.
and in his wedding vows to his wife
Mm-hmm.
on their wedding day, he like apologized for like the kind of husband he was worried he was going to be or something, and then like promised to do better, and people were like, okay, why have we not like seen this guy for what he is? Like the fact
Mm-hmm.
that he's apologizing to his wife on their wedding day already is
Right.
like concerning. And
Mm-hmm.
so like I think like it all like was like kind of clicking together, and we're like, oh, this
Sure.
makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Like we were tricked.
Yeah. And people have leaked his proposal video
Mhm.
where it's like him singing, and like it's like very like him, and they're
Mhm.
like, I've never seen a proposal more like about the proposer. And
Yeah.
they said that like in all the stuff he said to her, it was about like things she does for him that like make him
Mhm.
want to marry her, which is like something that
Yeah.
happens. But yeah, and I think that like that does, right, like that was the perfect click, is that like
Right.
Justin Baldoni was out. He that was the plan the whole time, right? Was
Mhm.
she'll do the shallow stuff, I'll go be the hero, and
Mhm.
I'll go talk about how domestic violence is serious, and I'll talk about how it was so hard to get in the mode of an abuser, and like,
Right.
and then everyone will think like I'm the good guy. And
Right.
so yes, I think that in that way, like the whole like believe women movement, like that's exactly what's happening here. Like
Mhm.
we worked very hard to make everyone not believe her. Now, and I don't know that it does negate
Yeah.
the things that we've learned, but now we're back ramping up the
Mhm.
videos of her being mean.
Mhm.
Now, to be honest, is she being mean? Sure. But like a lot of them where she's being mean do have to do with like her body and her
Yes.
pregnancy and her being a woman. And so like maybe we could consider that like
Mhm.
she is just a little bit too defensive,
Yeah.
but that she is coming from a place of like, I don't want this to be.
Right.
It's like the clip where what's her name, the girl from The Holiday, um and they
Kate
ask her.
Kate Winslet?
Yes. And they ask her like all these questions
Mhm.
about like women, and she says, is that all for me? Wait, no, I'm serious. Are you asking me that? And it's like, I don't think it's absurd for
Right.
women to be like, the way that y'all question women is
Yeah.
unreasonable. So I think she goes into these interviews with her dukes up.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, she comes across as mean, or is mean, I guess. I'll just say she's mean. Now everyone is like, apparently this is included in Justin Baldoni's lawsuit, is stuff
Mhm.
about Deadpool. So
Mhm.
now it's all becoming about Blake and Ryan as a team. They are saying that the director of Deadpool, the first Deadpool, quit before Deadpool 2 because of Ryan Reynolds, because he was way too bossy, he was way too involved. They're saying that Nice Pool in Deadpool 2 was based on Justin Baldoni and it
Yes.
was mocking him,
Yes.
which really is like embarrassing to admit
That's
that.
funny, actually.
Yeah. I would not say
Yeah.
like that's me.
Yeah. I
um,
feel like I feel a connection to this person.
yeah, it feels like me.
They suck, but
Yeah, so I guess like And then I kind of go back to, like, I always had a hard time with, like, if this woman sucks so bad,
Yeah.
why is she Taylor Swift's best friend?
Right.
And now I'm like, wait a second, maybe she
Like,
doesn't.
right. Taylor
Maybe
Swift and
she
Paige
is getting the Taylor
DeSorbo.
Swift effect. Maybe
Yes.
people are bullying her for no reason.
Taylor Swift and Paige DeSorbo are never wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I was gonna say about like his countersuits. So
Sure.
he's suing the New York Times
Sure. Yeah.
for like posting all of these things. And in that suit, or preparing for that suit, he provided some screenshots of texts with Blake Lively.
Yeah.
Specifically about like where she talks about him coming in while she's pumping.
Sure.
In the text messages he shares, she says, "I'm pumping, you can come to my trailer." So he says like he knew she was pumping and she invited him into her trailer.
Okay.
So he's saying like she's
I
basically
didn't sexually harass her. She
right.
gave me consent to come
Right.
in.
Like basically
Right.
he's saying like all of the things that she said were true, but she's only sharing part of it. I think there was a similar text about the intimacy coach. There was a
Yeah.
text where he said like, "I'm working on getting an intimacy coach," like, or like, "Thank you for bringing that to my attention, like we're gonna get one." And she says like, "I figured that was the case, like thanks for letting me know, sounds good." And so like basically what he's sharing is that like all the things she's saying are true. He was late to getting an intimacy coach. He did go into her trailer while she was pumping for breast milk. However, she was a part of that conversation, and she's not being fully honest, is what he's now saying. And yeah, I think, and so I think that like, I think that's part of the New York Times suit, is like they're sharing all of these text messages and whatever and all this information, but like it's not the only side of the story, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
Is what he's trying to say, which is like, I mean, I don't know. I've seen
Fair,
some
but
people.
the New York Times can't just wait around for you to get your side in. They gotta post.
Right.
They gotta share stuff.
Right. I have seen some people like talking about like specifically like the breast pumping thing, and I am not a mother. I don't know nothing about pumping breast milk, but somebody who is a mother, the kind of like dissected that text thread, and basically like he had said, "I'm working on something with somebody, like I'm running lines or we're working on something for the movie." And she said like, "Okay, um I'm just pumping in my trailer right now, so when you're done you can head over and we can do whatever it is." And so she was saying like,
She thought
pumping breast
we
milk,
both have time to finish what
right,
we're doing.
like she said, this woman said like pumping breast milk only takes like 10 to 15 minutes,
Right.
really.
So
And
you're big.
so right, so like she was like, I think what she was saying was like, "Oh, when you're done with that, I'll be done with this and then you can come over." But I guess like the idea maybe is that he saw that and took advantage of the situation and came right over, knowing that she would be pumping her breast
That
milk.
her breasts will be out.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so I think that's also fair. So like that's the other thing, is like I just don't know a lot. I don't know anything about intimacy coaches and babies and whatever. And so like maybe I just don't fully understand the like nuances of each of the situations she's talked about, but I think the fact that she's not the only woman
Mm-hmm.
who
They had to
has
literally
said
ask
this.
him to stop talking about the people he has sex with. And to
Yes.
stop talking about his watching porn.
He
So
was
like,
asking her about her sex life with Ryan Reynolds.
right. So yeah,
And people said that they heard that. Like it's not just her. That's the thing. It's like it's not, she can't be making all of it up because she's not the only one who's saying it.
Right. And I think like that's maybe like where we land for now, is that like both things can be true. That like I think he was sexually inappropriate with probably lots of people in the filming of this movie, and he should not be a director, especially to on movies that are like sensitive.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe her and Ryan Reynolds are oversteppers. Maybe they are a director's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't
I
really
also
care.
like people are bringing up interviews of them from when they first met and he was still married,
Mm.
and they're like, "Oh, like he cheated on his wife with Blake Lively." Like you can tell in these interviews that they like each other, and I'm like, "Do you like how long have they been fucking married that you're digging through this?"
Yeah.
Like combing through old videos. Like you are the smear campaign.
Right. Right. It's still working.
Right. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Um. Also, Tom Holland and Zendaya are engaged. They had both, in separate recent public statements, said that when they have children, they will. Tom Holland said, I will fall off the face of the earth. I will
Good.
not be in anything. We will not be working. Like,
Good
that's
for
it.
them.
Yeah. She's got a little, like, T tattoo on her, like, on her side boob. It's a very nice ring.
I
Very
love
cute.
them.
Yeah. The only major Taylor Swift update I have is that Look What You Made Me Do, Taylor's version, was registered on Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
A little while ago at this point, and still nothing has happened, but you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it also, sleuths have found that Reputation and Debut would need to be released before August, based on like the deadline on, I guess, like the copyright
Mm-hmm.
or the license, like whatever she has to apply for to get that name,
Yeah.
like that is only valid through like August. So people are like, we got till August and we
Yeah.
should have both. So
Yeah.
see if
I
that holds true.
is this like the second or third Reputation song to get a Taylor's version?
Like on Shazam specifically.
No, just in general.
I feel like I've seen this one multiple times. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what else. I guess
I
there
know
was Ready for It.
because
Right?
they used
Ready for It was for Simone Biles for the
maybe
Olympics.
I don't know about that. I know Delicate there's a Taylor's version because they put it in The Summer I Turned Pretty. So like what if she just like slowly releases them
But they're not released
um
like for public consumption.
but like what
But
if she like
I
slowly
guess for the copyright purposes,
yeah.
maybe that would be enough. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to play catch up on Netflix shows and Bravo shows. So Netflix really is just The Ultimatum, a new season aired of The Ultimatum, the straight version, and it was not giving. We've already talked about that the straight version is like pales in comparison
Mm-hmm.
to Ultimatum Queer Love, and this was the worst season of the
Yeah.
straight version of the Ultimatum. The only man who was not a walking red flag the entire time was Caleb, and then at the reunion we find out that he kind of sucks too. And I was like I was bummed like that he sucked. So what were your thoughts?
Yeah, it was super boring.
Yeah.
Like, I had seen all of the aftermath on Instagram, and so I was like, I guess I should watch this. And the whole time, like every time I turned it on, I was like, I don't care to be watching this. Like,
Yeah.
this is for educational purposes only.
Yes.
But basically, like, it was just like not, I don't know. I was not getting into like Nick and Sandy are fighting over like a peck on the mouth when
Right.
I've watched other seasons where people are like fucking other
Right.
people and like
Also,
are like fully
Sandy they
falling in
are
love.
fucked. Like they can deny it all they want, but there's a clip from the show of him walking into their bedroom butt ass naked. And they did it. It went by so fast, but people like caught it on TikTok and posted it. They absolutely fucked.
So for these purposes, they didn't.
Yeah.
for my annoyance is that, like, that's not even what we're fighting about. Like, we're fighting,
Right.
like, Xander and Yoli are over here falling in love,
Right.
which made good TV because you're
Right.
like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? And they tried to do the same thing where, like, at the end they're like, let's put Sandy and JR, but no, they will not, especially if all they did was peck twice. So, like, you want me to be fully invested in this fight where Nick cannot stay in his own fucking apartment
Right.
because they kissed? Like, it feels like such small potatoes.
Yes. I will say, um, on while this show was airing, a woman came out on TikTok and said that she had gone on a date with Nick, um, before him and Sandy started dating, obviously, and that she got so freaked out by him that did not she told him she was not going to come back for a second date, and he asked her why. He asked her for feedback, and she said that it was just a very bad vibe, but like at the last minute he told her he had canceled their reservation, I guess, or no longer wanted to go to a restaurant, and that he wanted her to come over to his apartment. And she was like, and I should have said no, because that's weird, but for some reason I didn't. And so she went to his apartment, and this woman that was saying that she's an influencer, but she got famous on TikTok and Instagram sharing the story of how she was stalked, and her stalker tried to kill her, and she fought back and killed him in her home. So keep that in mind. So she goes to Nick's apartment, and he had told her when he asked her on a date, it was on Instagram, he had told her, like, I've been stalking your socials. And she was like, that he shouldn't have said. And that also should have been like, I was like, where I should have said, like, no, thank you. Because like,
People
as a
say
victim
that.
of stalking,
Sure.
like, that should be alarming. But I was like, whatever. And so she said she went to his apartment, and she came in, and he made a comment about how she was dressed very masculine, and that he would have preferred that she dress more feminine. And then he started talking about, I think I don't know, I may be getting confused with what Vanessa said about him, but I want to say he also told her about his drug usage. Which Vanessa said that that's why she left their trial marriage. And he just was like saying things that were inappropriate or like off-putting. And so he asked her if she'd want to go out again, and she said like no. And he was like, why? And she said like, these things were alarming to me. And then Vanessa came out on TikTok and said that when um when Micah and Chanel left their trial marriages to like get back together, her and Dave started talking again, and she said that Nick was making her uncomfortable. He had told her that he used to have a problem with cocaine. And then he said, and I'm still using cocaine. And she knew he was also drinking, and so that made her very uncomfortable, and that's why she left the trial marriage. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Like off show, which obviously they're not going to say that on the show. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I I mean, the first thing I saw, like, before I'd even watched the show, was Sandy and Nick went on the Bio Files.
Together.
And yes, but they explained that they have not been together for 2.5 years. That was not true. They had been together for about 9 months, and in those 9 months, they had broken up 6 times. They were constantly on and off. And then she says Nick was like shaking his head, but he didn't really say anything else. But like he was like, but I don't know. But basically, I couldn't figure out exactly what she was saying, but I guess they had talked about it, and she told Nick, like, no, like, I don't want to go on this show. And then she said the show reached out to her And then they went on. So then I'm like, did the show reach out and say, like, we'll pretend you were together for 2.5 years. We think y'all would be entertaining. Did they just, like, get recruited? Because, like, that's not how this show is supposed to work.
Right.
Or is she saying that, like, Nick lied, told the show they'd been together 2.5 years, told them they were coming, then she said no, and so then the show reached out to her to say, like, no, please come.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't
She
really
did?
know what the deal is there, but
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, they were not together for 2.5 years,
Right.
which I don't think is that shocking to
Right.
anyone watching them. I don't
No.
think it's shocking that they have had 6 breakups in 9 months.
Right.
I don't think it's shocking to find out that they have always been an unstable couple.
Right. She was always saying on the show, like, you said if we did this show that, like, we could give it the full experience. Like, she kept saying, like, well, I only
As if
agreed
they
to
had
do
been
this
in
show.
talks for a while
Right.
about this.
I
Yeah.
only agreed to do this show if I could fuck JR wholeheartedly. But fun time.
And to your point about them possibly having sex, she admits
Yeah.
on camera that she wasn't going to tell him about the second kiss until filming was done. So,
Right.
like, it possible, if not probable, that as
She
soon as
would take that
cameras
to the grave.
went down, she said, "Okay, we did fuck, but like, we're not
Yeah.
saying that on camera."
Right. Some fun. So I came up with some doppelgangers for this cast. For some reason, I only find this fun for like the Netflix reality dating shows. So we did Love Is Blind. We're back for the ultimatum. I think we'll start with the boring ones. I think Caleb looks like Jack Harlow.
His poor little
Mariah.
patchy beard.
I think Mariah looks like Gracie Abrams, but like I guess like if Gracie Abrams had like blue eyes.
Sure.
I think Sandy looks like Jessica from Love Is Blind, obviously.
Of course. Yeah.
Zaina, I think looks like Nessa. She's married to Colin Kaepernick. And she was on Girl Code.
Okay.
I think Aria looks like Yara Shahidi. I think Chanel looks like Lynn from Girlfriends. Vanessa is the one that like kind of started me on this journey of finding their doppelgangers, because I have always thought from the moment I saw her, she looks just like this actress. And I could not for the life of me figure out who this actress was or what I remembered her from, but I could like picture her so clearly. And I was like, she looks just like her. So I was going to come on the show, this podcast here, and just say she looks like the girl Disney puts in a show or movie to throw a wrench in like a slow burn. Like you're like waiting for these two teenagers to get together, and then all of a sudden the boy has a girlfriend, and everyone hates her because she isn't the girl you've been waiting for him to get with, but she's actually like super nice. Like think of like Miley Stewart and Jake Ryan. And then I was like, wait, I think she was Jake Ryan's girlfriend. I think that actually
that's
happened.
a very specific picture. This.
Yes, and I was like, I think it might have been the same thing on Sunny with a Chance, where she dated Chad Dylan Cooper. I was wrong about that one, but she did date Sterling Brown in the movie 17 again, which is how I found her, and her name is Josie Lauren. She doesn't act anymore, but I think she looks just like her. Micah, I think Micah looks like someone who would have been on Nickelodeon in the 90s. Like, if you told me that he had been in Good Burger or on Kenan and Kel, I would immediately believe you. Be like, absolutely. JR looks like if Drake got handsome Squidwarded. Like, if he got smacked by a door and turned, like, really handsome and, like, got really defined features, I think it would be JR.
Sure.
Dave looks like any man from any insurance commercial. The OG Jake from State Farm, Mayhem, Limu, Emu, and Doug. Any of them. You could throw him into that progressive group, and I would have thought he was there the whole time.
Yeah. He's a little tall for the progressive folks, but sure. I get it.
Tall, that's true.
Yeah.
Scotty looks like what I think Saint and Psalm West would look like when they grow up.
You got a big head, dude.
Yeah.
He has got a huge head. Both metaphorically and literally.
Yeah, true. Nick looks like that meme of Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where he's got like a string board behind him. But also, I was like, every time he was talking, I was like, I feel like I'm watching OG Vanderpump Rules with coked out Jax.
Yeah.
Like, this is the same vibe, and it's because he was coked out.
Every
But, like,
time Billy was like, oh, he's not well.
he's on coke. Like, and like, that's sad, you know? Like, get him help. But whatever. That's it.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll post them so you can see it. You can see the vision.
Give you the vision.
Yeah. So now we're gonna play catch up with Bravo. So the shows that are currently airing that either one or both of us watch are Below Deck Sailing Yacht, Southern Charm, Southern Hospitality, Roni. Do you watch Beverly Hills? Okay, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Potomac, Salt Lake City. We're not gonna recap all of those.
Yeah, but don't get scared.
Yeah, sorry. But we will catch up on some of them, just like if they're relevant right now or if something super crazy happened in like the last week. But first, some general news. Vanderpump Rules was renewed for a 12th season, but they fired the entire original cast and are starting fresh. So, as is a trend on this show, we're told something that was a lie. We were told Sheena and Lala were not joining the Valley. Don't worry, folks. But Sheena, Lala, and Schwartz have all made the transition to the Valley.
We were also told they would absolutely not be doing a reboot. We were told that they were just pausing filming, but do not worry.
Yes.
Liars. But Katie did announce that she was not planning to return anyway, that she had already told them. She said on her podcast, like, I had already decided. And I assume Ariana too, like someone asked Ariana if she was sad in an interview and she was like, no. Yeah. So I feel like she was going to say no anyway. She's fine. As well. But yeah.
Yeah. James Kennedy was arrested for domestic violence. This was after Kathy Hilton? Kathy Hilton's party, and Allie had been posting a lot of content
she got
about Kathy Hilton's party.
Kathy Hilton's reading.
Yeah.
So cute.
So we knew that they had gone to that. That night, a neighbor had called police because they heard an altercation. And at first, Allie was like, this is a misunderstanding. I love James. He has never harmed me in any way. But then the police report came out. And in the police report, it said that what Allie had told them was that James had picked her up and thrown her to the ground.
Yeah.
I don't know how that could be a misunderstanding. Yeah. And she told the police that. So then people were like, girl, like, don't stand by him. Get the fuck out of there. So after that, she was seen moving out of their house, but she was seen moving out of her house with him carrying all of her stuff for her. So, like, to me, I don't know. To me, that still seems like we're together, but, like, I have to move out of our house.
Yeah, I mean, and her post about it was very, like, similar. Like, it was just like, please give me space. So, like, I think it was more of, like, maybe he realized what he had done was wrong, and they were like, we should have some space apart. Also, for the optics. I am looking forward to, hopefully, like, people, meaning Allie, don't feel anymore like they need to stay. Like, I hope she doesn't feel like she needs to stay with him anymore because there's not a show. There isn't a show for her to, like, lose a job or like lose an income. Like, there isn't a show to, like, keep together for the plot. And so, like, I mean,
they couldn't have been paying Allie that much because she wasn't even a real cast member.
Yeah, but I mean, they could have in future seasons if she stuck around, which is why people always stick around. But I hope that because I said something like, it's going to feel weird to not get to see this play out. Like, we don't get to see the aftermath of this. But Billy was like, I think it would be inappropriate for us to see this play out. Like, I think even if the show
Billy was like,
back,
Katie, you're being selfish.
He's like, even if the show came back, like, James should not be on it.
Right.
And, like, this should not be a storyline. Like, this needs to be off camera. And I think for Allie's sake, like, it's a good timing that, like, it sucks because they were obviously going to still kind of be in the Bravo world. They were at Kathy Hilton's and stuff. So I hate, like, if she has to lose that. But, like, I think, like, hopefully that helps take the pressure off. And
right.
She can just
but I also think, though, she's starting to build this music career and, like, she's friends with people in the cast. And, like, I mean, if you come out and say, in addition to Kristen and Rachel, like, yeah, this man hurt me, like, people aren't going to rally around him, you know? And I was going to put this, but I wasn't sure, like, how, if it had been verified or, like, how it had been verified, but they did say that, I guess maybe after Kristen's initial claims of abuse, that Bravo was looking into James and his history of abuse. And they had hired, like, a private lawyer to help with it, but then let him stay on the show.
Yeah, what I heard was not that great. Apparently in the infamous Kristen punching James in the face at Sheena's wedding, he had pushed her into a bush right before she punched him in the face, and apparently it is on camera. And they chose to edit it out. And I'm guessing that also means everyone just chose to lie, because we had started watching Vanderpump Rules through again, because we were like, season 12 is going to come out. So we got to watch this. So we just actually finished that season. And at the reunion, everyone's like, Kristen, you punched him, like, just because you're a girl. And she's just like, I know. And she never once says, like, he did something to me first.
Right.
Which is probably because they were staying together. But, like, if true, obviously I don't have this unreleased footage, but if true, then hiring a private lawyer to look into him is nothing but performative, because you have it on camera.
Right.
So, like, yeah, it's not looking great for that, which is maybe another reason that it's a good idea for Bravo to just cut ties. But a couple days ago, James posted a story with, like, a bunch of AA. Well, first it was, like, him and Graham. And then it was, like, a bunch of AA chips. And pretty much no one's buying it.
Yeah.
They were all like, okay, like, he wants us to think he's better. Or he, like, look, I'm working on myself. And yeah.
Yeah. Another thing, and I guess this brings us back to the power of women. I just, like, I guess I have a hard time understanding how, if he was abusive to Kristen and, like, these people know that, like, why did Katie become so close to him? Why did Ariana become so close to him? Like, why?
Unless they didn't. I mean, they weren't over there when it happened, and they may not see uncut footage or unreleased footage too.
But,
so
like,
maybe they didn't
in the time since she said it, even.
Yeah, but do they believe Kristen? I think that's, like, the whole thing about,
I thought, like, they were all friends with her.
I guess now, yeah, I guess that is true. Yeah, I'm trying to remember when, like, when we were getting inundated with podcasts from Vanderpump Rules, like, I feel like I remember people saying, like, well, then Christian's saying this, but, you know. So, I don't know. But, yeah, it's true. Like, why have they ridden so hard for him? But maybe it was all, like, they really, really believed he had, like, changed once he got sober. So maybe they were like, yeah, he did this to Kristen, but he was drinking. Yeah, and so I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it is sad. And I even caught myself doing it the other day. A friend walked in and she was like, oh my God, we haven't gotten to talk about Bravo. And she said something about James. And I said, like, ugh, poor dude. And then I was like, why? But like
Yeah.
we in the past few seasons, we have all fallen in love with James, and we've
Right.
been like, yay, like good for him. And so in my head, I'm like, poor dude that he either relapsed or like did something regrettable. But it's like he could have been doing this the whole time, and
Right.
like not poor dude. Like
Right.
I'm working on it too. That like
Yeah.
James really did become the number one guy in the group, and when you're up
Right.
against the Toms and Jacks, like you're a saint.
Yeah.
So
And that's crazy. Like
right,
there have been rumors for like a couple years now,
right.
started by Kristen, who's in a relationship with him, that he's physically abusive, and we're still
Mm-hmm.
like, well, but he's not cheating on his girlfriend right now.
Mm-hmm. But Tom Schwartz is also physically abusive, and that is on camera, but no one says those words.
Right.
No one says, like, he's physically abusive to women,
Right. Like
which he
still
is.
think I think we should have maybe made a bigger deal of James spitting at Kristen.
Sure. Right.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
We're gonna jump
Yeah.
to Charleston. Join us. Paige DeSorbo, our queen, our guiding light, announced on Giggly Squad that she and Craig have decided to break up. She says, like, makes it sound very mutual and like it was a full discussion. She says they still love and respect each other, but ultimately they wanted different things at this time, which is something that people have questioned a lot over the years, is like they don't want to live in the same place. He's a
Mm-hmm.
lot older than her. Like,
Just
kind
sucks
of
because he
just,
was
yeah.
coming around.
Yeah, he was.
He
He
seemed
was
like
gonna
he
move
was
to New York.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. This is especially sad right now if you're watching Southern Charm, because on Southern Charm right now, Craig's in the process of extracting sperm for him and Paige to start a family with.
So what if my nuts get cut off or something?
In this week's episode, he tells her he's gonna leave her his sperm if he dies. And
Yeah.
she said, and I'm gonna purposefully have kids without a dad.
Mm. And like
He
I even
said,
thought
but
it
I
was
want you to
so
have
cute.
it.
Yeah, I even thought it was so cute that like him talking to the boys, that he's like, they're like, we've known you've always wanted kids, like immediately. And he's like, not anymore. Like not since being with Paige. And like I thought, like, good for him for
Yeah.
being like, my ideas change when I get
Right.
with someone who I respect their opinion. I
Yes.
think they're smart and I want a life with her. So like,
Right.
yeah, our plans have changed.
Yeah.
And
I
it's sad.
Yeah, watching this week's episode of Southern Charm, I was like, oh, I know that Austin listens and re-listens to that episode of Giggly Squad and like jacks off to it. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, I loved knowing this.
Mm-hmm.
Gross. I hate him right now.
I hate him always. He says.
Yeah. But the rumors are swirling.
Yeah.
And our girl is denying these
Mm-hmm.
rumors and reminding everyone to shut the fuck up. She keeps saying, like, you'll be hearing from my lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
One rumor is that Craig actually proposed and Paige said no.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if any of these are true, that one's most likely. Another is that she cheated on him with Marcelo Hernandez from SNL,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm not a fan of that one because I want him to date Sabrina Carpenter now.
Mm-hmm.
There also people are saying like that they said Naomi's about to be back on Southern Charm next season, and try to get with Craig, which would not be my least favorite thing in the world, I guess.
Yeah. He posted about this and he didn't really say much about like what happened, but he did make it pretty clear that it was not mutual.
Yeah.
That he was a little blindsided by it. That like right before the holidays, he like found this out. So, or like, I don't know that those are the words he used. I used quotes incorrectly, but like basically like you get told something right before the holidays and now you don't talk to your best friend anymore. It's like what he said. So I mean, I guess that could mean that it could be that like she was like, I cheated on you, or maybe he proposed right before the holidays and she said no. But I also think from her point of view, it might have seemed mutual. She might have been like, I wonder if we should do this. And he's like, Oh, okay.
Yeah. If she cheated on him, I feel like it wouldn't be with Marcelo Hernandez.
Sure. Yeah.
I also love Jesse offered to sing at her wedding, and then a week later
Yes.
he had to
He
comment back and
commented
say
back and said,
this did
bad
not.
timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's it on the. Actually, no, that's not it on the Southern Charm front. I forgot to put this in. We ended last season kind of trying to figure out what was going on with JT and like why he left mid show or not mid like filming, but like mid
He didn't
contract, I
finish.
guess.
Yeah. Sure.
And like what he's talking about that like was so big a deal that like was harming him mentally and physically or whatever. So this season he talks about, I didn't know this, he had like a ATV crash, I think.
Yeah.
And it was injured pretty badly. So he's walking with a cane this season. He hates Austin still. He bought canes for everyone. He offered everyone a cane as an olive branch. And then he gave one to Miss Patricia, who's like 70 years old.
83.
And who's 83 years old. And she was like, that's fucking rude.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, there's no fucking way this man was raised in the South.
Yeah. As soon as he told his mom, she said,
oh my god.
What?
So he was like, he's like, I didn't realize it was gonna hurt her feelings, and like I'm just like surprised that she couldn't like see what I was doing with it. And then Craig goes to Patricia and he
called her a bitch.
He said, JT called you a bitch. And she's like, what?
And Bravo said, audio not found.
Yeah, they said, no, the fuck he didn't. So then Craig tells everyone that JT called Patricia a bitch. And so Madison says she can't be friends with him anymore. But then Leva was like,
I don't believe that.
Don't think you would say that. And he's like, I don't say the B word at all. I don't say the P word, the C word, or the B word. And so then at this last episode, he asked to meet with Craig, but he is like very clearly being like kind of driven out of the group. Yeah. Austin told Craig apparently that if he sees him hang out with JT again, that they will no longer be speaking, which is a crazy thing to say to your fucking business partner. Mm-hmm. Also a crazy thing to say in general, but also we talked about how thin JT was lately, and I forgot that he was diabetic. Mm-hmm. So I do wonder if that could be part of it, but I forgot I wanted to add that. Now moving on. Southern Hospitality. First of all, Taylor needs to just be plucked out of Southern Charm and placed into Southern Hospitality, please. Mm-hmm. Just bloop bloop. She fits in so much better there, and she's on it. Like, she doesn't need to be on 2 shows. Yeah. Anyway, but on Southern Hospitality, we find out that JT and Joe Bradley have not spoken since the reunion, when JT revealed that Joe Bradley had told him TJ. I said JT, and I have written TJ. Mm-hmm. TJ.
I only correct you because it would get confusing.
Yeah, TJ and Joe Bradley have not spoken since the reunion, when TJ revealed that Joe Bradley had told him he slept with Luann. And then production was like, why are you mad? It was already posted on page 6. And Joe Bradley said, page 6 wasn't my best friend.
That's true.
Yeah, that valid. Yeah. I mean, Maddie reveals that she and Joe are dating, which I had a feeling about. They had not like outwardly posted that they were dating, but they were posting together a lot. And he had posted something that said like, this is my work wife. And I was like, they're like trying not to say they're dating, but I think they are. We also learned at the reunion, so at the end of last season, Emmy was named AGM. Everyone was kind of pissed about it. But the reunion, we learned that like Emmy was essentially like demoted or like fired from that position, um, because she was asked to go be like the manager at a new place, and she said no because she wanted to work at Republic. So she was replaced with a 22-year-old named Michaels, and he's so cute. We love him. Michaels and TJ kissed because they're the only two gay cast members, so they have to kiss. It's Bravo rules. Um, but then TJ was like weird about it because he's 30, and he was like, I don't know about dating a 22-year-old, even though he's the one that initiated the kiss. And then he started being weird. He like brought Michaels a coffee, but then Michaels was like trying to like flirt with him, and TJ was like not having it and like being really weird about it. And then Michaels went in the back and cried. But then at Michael's birthday party, TJ saw him making out with someone else, and he got real jealous. And so they went out and got pedicures together, and he told him he did have feelings for him. I don't know. I can't remember where they left it, like if they're gonna like date or try to date, or if they're like maybe we just need to not anymore. But Michael's like admitted that TJ was his first gay friend ever. And so he was like, I just felt like very like upset because like I feel like you like came on to me and I was like into it, and then you just like ghosted me. But like you were like my first like friend when my family had like after my family had rejected me when I came out.
Sure.
So that's fair. We're only 2 episodes in, but it looks like a lot of the season is going to be centered around the downfall of Emmy. She had a minty bee this week. She was screaming in the restaurant, and Michaels had to ask her to go home. That's like a new low. Screaming at work and a 22-year-old having to ask you to go home. And then we've seen a lot of previews centered around trying to prove disloyalty between her and Will. And actually, on this episode, when she was screaming in the restaurant, Will had walked outside to ignore her. And everyone was like, your boyfriend fucking sucks. He's not being helpful. She did post on Instagram today that she had strep that day, and that she was coming down off of a lot of NyQuil from the night before. So I'm sorry, why the fuck are you at work in the food service industry with strep?
Yeah.
In the first place.
I wouldn't say that out loud.
Yeah, weird thing to admit.
Yeah.
I'm kind of trying to rapid fire these things.
Yeah.
But jump in at any time.
Yeah. You too, guys, but we're at an hour and a half. We're trying to get you out of here.
Pause if needed. But I think we're on the last two. Real Housewives. The season of Potomac is heavily centered on Karen Huger's most recent run-in with the law, and it's unnerving that I have to say most recent. In March, Karen crashed her car and was arrested for a DUI. And then in real time, last month, she was found guilty, and she skipped the reunion episode in order to check herself into rehab. Dash cam footage has surfaced of that night, and she spends a lot of time talking to the ghost of George Washington or Thomas Jefferson.
Maybe.
I don't know. A dead president. Like, she's clearly drunk.
She says, "Are you like a poor white?" She says, "I'm Thomas Jefferson's concubine." And then at one point she like falls out of the car and she says, "I'm lit." And he says, "Yes, you are."
Yeah.
Ma'am, if we can agree on anything, it's that you're lit. Yep.
Yeah. As far as I know, that's a recent development, that video surfacing.
Yes.
So on the show, we don't have that information. So on the show, she's still trying to like play it off like she's like, I'm not going to talk about it. I no longer drink. You don't know that I was drunk. You don't know anything about me. I have done nothing wrong. A lot of the women are openly upset with Karen for this. And like kind of, especially the women with children, keep reminding her that she was lucky she didn't hit another car or a
Sure.
person. I think she hit a tree.
Like a big sign or a tree or something.
Yeah, it was just her
An
car.
object. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're like, Karen, like the fact that you got into that car, knowing you were drunk, like
I don't think she
you're
knew
so
anything.
fucking
I'm not gonna
lucky.
lie. I don't think she knew shit.
Yeah, she
I'm
can't.
surprised she knew how to put the key in the ignition.
Yeah, it's actually a medical miracle that she made it that far.
Because the Thomas Jefferson concubine comment was after a full ride with the police, after falling out of a car, after she had been in, like, she should have been slightly sobered up by then.
Yeah, she was in an
And she
interrogation
still
room.
said Thomas Jefferson's concubine. So, like,
Yeah, she's just had the most sobering, like, 30 minutes of her life riding in a police car, going into an interrogation room, and she still can't get a grip on herself.
Yeah.
Another hot topic on Potomac is Mia's divorce and her new relationship. I'm pretty sure we've touched on like what's going on in Potomac this season already before we went on a break. But in the past few weeks, she's been talking a lot about Gordon's bipolar disorder and how it affects their co-parenting. Which I don't know a lot about bipolar disorder, but like in this most recent episode,
it would affect parenting.
Yeah, in this most recent episode, she couldn't get a hold of him on the phone and she's on vacation. And here's what I find interesting though. Like she keeps talking about how like nerve-wracking it is to co-parent with someone with bipolar disorder, but then she like leaves her kids with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it can't be that nerve-wracking. Like I feel like she talks about it being like nerve-wracking when it's convenient for her.
Maybe it is
but then
more
she just trusts
nerve-wracking when
him.
he's fully alone.
Yeah.
Like maybe
But she's leaving them alone.
With the kids, you mean?
Yeah, like she's out of the country.
Maybe for some reason, like the kids feel like a buffer to her, and she feels like he won't do certain things. He wouldn't do that with. I mean, I don't know anything about this.
Yeah,
but yeah, like I wonder if it's more like, well, if he's by himself, like no kids or anything, he'll do X, Y, Z. But yes, I don't know.
So in the most recent episode, she is trying to call him to check on the kids, and he's not answering the phone. And she starts like crying, and so then her friends start calling him, and then they call, I think, his mom, and she has whoever they call, she has the kids, and she's like, they're fine. Like, why are y'all freaking out? And I was trying so hard not to be a judgy little bitch, but she's on the phone. Her friends are on the phone with whoever it is that has the kids, and she's like, "Oh my god, like they're fine." Like, and she's like, "Well, we just weren't sure because Gordon wasn't answering the phone." And Mia, I'm not kidding, she's sitting like this. Like, I was like, "What the fuck is she doing? Like, is she trying to appear alarmed or like?" I don't know. They're like, she's having a panic attack.
She looks like she's having an exorcism.
They were like, she's having a panic attack, and she was like, and I was like, look, everyone's different, but as a frequent sufferer of panic attacks, I ain't never had one that looked like that. I have never had a panic attack like that. And she was like, it's okay, like freaking out, and it just seemed very performative.
In case you're not watching on YouTube, Mary looks like Julio Ricardo Ramirez while he summoned ghosts. On the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
She's frozen. Her eyes are huge, and she's like staring down at her hands or something. And then they say something on the phone, and she like immediately snaps out of it. She's like, "Oh, okay, well, thanks so much." And I was like, the quickness with which you came out of that panic attack is odd. And then on New Year's Eve, she posted a picture with Gordon on Instagram with the caption, "New Year, new beginnings. Cheers to living life to the fullest."
Okay.
So people are saying like, "Oh, New Year, same messy Mia." Now, like, are her and Gordon back together? We don't fucking know.
Weird. The grand finale.
Yes, we're finally to the end. We are going to we got to touch on SLC before ending season 2, but this trip that they're on right now is in fucking insane.
Yeah.
So this is the only like full episode recap we're gonna discuss. So while we were gone, Bronwyn opened up to the group that Todd had cheated on her.
In some way, shape, or form.
Yes, she's vague about it. She says there's
Infidelity, we call
infidelity
it.
in my relationship,
Yeah.
and basically what she says, and she kind of like says it like, oh, it's not his fault.
Yes.
Like
No,
we
she
talked about
actually
it.
says
Yes,
it's not his fault.
she said like we talked about it, and basically he was confused. He explained to me that he wasn't used to being monogamous, so he didn't know how hard it was going to be not to sleep with other women while he was married. And like
Mhm.
I should have been more clear that
Yeah.
that's a boundary I wanted in a marriage.
Yeah.
Silly me. My
Yeah.
bad.
And it's like, looking back, we'll talk about this in just a 2nd, but
Mhm.
looking back, once we get like the full episode, we get Watch What Happens Live, whatever, I realized she never actually mentioned him sleeping with anyone. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that was me. My little brain
Yeah.
put that in there. My bad. So she says
I
she
think it was
found
what she
out.
said about his response that made me think he had slept with
Of
other
course,
people.
yeah.
Yes.
But she says that she found out about infidelity when her daughter was looking over his shoulder and saw him texting another woman. Also,
Mhm.
this dude is old and fat, and like, how weird for her daughter to be like, oh my god.
And you know that his phone is like on like a 35
200%.
point
Yeah.
like font.
Yeah. So basically, what Bronwyn gets at is she likens this to how Todd. Oh my god, I need him to be a Tom because we're
I
so used
know,
to it.
he's so close.
He likens this to how he is in business, and he says, "Well, in business, I'm always looking for a better deal, so it's hard for me to turn that off romantically now that I'm in a marriage." So what Bronwyn tells these women is it's not his fault. That's just how he is. He's always looking for the better deal. So I just need to be above reproach. I need to be so good to him that he will never need to look for a better deal. That he will never look anywhere else.
Horrifying.
It was so sad. It was so
Yes.
devastatingly sad. And it's like Angie and Meredith are sitting there going like, everyone goes through marriage things, and like, like I tell Sean I want to rest, but he's about the next business venture and like
Mhm.
whatever. And so like marriages aren't perfect, and everyone has different things that they're capable of. And they kept saying maybe Todd is just not capable of loving you the way you need him to, but that's okay. Y'all can stay together. You're
Yeah.
just recognizing his capabilities. And it's like, while I understand marriages are not perfect, I would like to put this in here. Me and Mary bite our tongues a lot about children, and we say, "Oh, we don't have them. We won't talk."
Yeah.
This I will say with 100% confidence. Marriages are not perfect all of the time. But if you never feel like your marriage is perfect ever,
Right.
you never have moments where you're like, man, this is it.
Yeah.
This is so good. This is perfect. This is a great time. Like, if you're saying, like, there's always this overarching thing, he's not capable of loving me, for example.
That's
And
a
that's
big
gonna
one.
and that's gonna be there every second of every day.
Yeah.
That ain't it for me, baby.
Right.
Like, so your best days are like days where even though he can't love you the way you need, he's at least not fucking someone else. So like,
Right.
we're good. Like, it was so sad when all of these women
Yeah.
basically agreed with her, and they're like, "Yep, you just got to stick it out." And I was
Yeah.
like, "No!" And thank God for Heather, although I hate her this season. But thank God for Heather in that moment going like, "No, you do not.
Yeah.
You really do not have to stick it out."
She's like, take it from me.
Yeah.
I look, my marriage is not perfect by any means, but the majority of the time, I feel like, oh, like I cannot imagine doing what I do every day with anyone else. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is so like it's comfortable
Yeah.
and
Well,
it's
it
just
could be.
full of love and like
Yeah.
kindness and like happiness and like I love like the house we built together
Sure.
and our dogs and like the life we've curated together.
Yeah.
And like,
but I would argue that those women feel the same way, that they like the life
yes,
they've made with those people. They can't imagine doing it with anyone else. But like they're being this like constant, ever present
yeah,
big issue. I
right.
can't imagine. Sure, do we
But
have
it's
little
different because
issues?
I'm poor.
Right.
So like I can't imagine doing it with anyone else because I love my husband. They
You
can't
right.
imagine doing it with anyone else because they need their husbands.
Right. And it's like I just like I can't imagine. There are little things, to me, a good marriage, there are little things that make it hard
Mhm.
sometimes, or that like whatever, little challenges. But I couldn't deal with like there's just this one thing. Billy hates looking at me. So
Yeah.
he walks around the house with his eyes closed. But we're happy. But like he walks around the house with his eyes closed. Like that's how they sound.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
well, we've just decided that he just won't love me as much as I love
Yeah.
him. And that's cool.
Fine by
And
me.
and also we didn't sign a prenup, but I won't act like I'm just like
Yeah.
Bronwyn's like the fact that we didn't sign a prenup is proof that we're so in love, which it like is, but then he's the one cheating on you, so like
Yeah.
he could just lose
Yeah.
everything.
She says like he won't love me with like the same casualty of like me saying like I've been asking my husband for 5 years to stop farting every 5 seconds and he won't.
Yeah,
And like
I'm
she's
like
like, oh well.
my husband puts shoes on to lay down on the couch. Okay? Like I'm putting that out there. That's how Bronwyn says this.
Yeah.
She says, he's so silly. He can't love me. Every single night and every single day for the rest of my freaking life. I'm just like,
It's a horrifying.
what?
Yeah.
But see, in a more serious way, like that is such an impeccable image and like depiction of him brainwashing her and him gaslighting her. He has gaslit her so hard. He has said to her so many times, and like Heather, I hadn't really thought about her like getting pregnant as a teenager thing, which like Heather talked about, but like he has said to her so many times, basically, who else is gonna love you? Who else is gonna give you this lifestyle? You need to stick it out with me, whether I cheat on you or don't love you or whatever. So what are you gonna do? Leave? And she has retained that so much, and that is so sad.
I also think it's interesting, like Bronwyn is such a like I don't know, like funky personality that I'm like the way she picks him up at the airport in those like blow up suits. I'm like, this is the person that you're like, I'm gonna tolerate.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm not saying she's not lovable. Like I feel like
but you need like a Lisa Barlow,
but
like
yeah,
someone who's super surface level,
boring as hell.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm gonna stick it out with this bitch who picks me up at the airport with a freaking blow up dinosaur costume on.
Right.
I don't know. She went on Watch What Happens Live after that and basically said that like it wasn't true. Or that like she didn't say it correctly, and the whole time
she said
Todd
it was just a misunderstanding of boundaries.
Yeah, the whole time Todd is like staring her down, like basically like holding up cue cards and being like, say it was a lie, say it wasn't true, you made it up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's terrifying.
Yeah, but anyway, Bronwyn, and me for that matter, did not like the way that Lisa and Meredith responded to what she was sharing. Basically, like they were like, well, do you feel like you're putting too much pressure on him and stuff? And so she told Whitney and Heather, because remember, Lisa has banished her to this other house with Whitney and Heather with stormy weather. And so she tells them, and then she immediately runs to Lisa and says that they all talk shit about her and now she feels bad. She's like, I was a part of this conversation and I have regrets.
Yeah, it was super obvious that like Lisa and Meredith have both had previous cheating allegations, and so they were not able to feel, they were not capable of feeling sympathy for the person who gets cheated on.
Right.
And I know what Lisa Barlow was thinking was, I swear to God, if John ever said something like that on TV, I'd have his ass.
Yeah. On the van ride to their little ATV outing, Bronwyn is like talking about the Todd thing again, and she realizes, or somebody realizes that it's Angie. Angie realizes that Brittany has been recording on her phone, seemingly their conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, Brittany says that she was trying to send a video to her daughter because she had gotten a good grade on her math test, but she couldn't figure out how to flip the camera, I guess, which with her social media presence is laughable.
Mm-hmm.
That's certainly not what happened.
Yeah.
Then she starts hyperventilating and has to leave the van because they're all screaming at her. And Meredith is, "You can leave again."
Mm-hmm.
Again. She leaves the van. Whitney follows her to check on her. And then Brittany says that she had accidentally turned the camera on and didn't know she was recording.
Mm-hmm.
Or something. Then at dinner that night, she says that she was trying to record some of the sights out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And then
she was trying. I was just trying to do this. She kept saying, "I was just trying to."
I was trying to.
I'm like, I don't know what this means.
Trying for my daughter. And then I guess to like humanize herself and be like, yes, I do have flaws, but recording you isn't one of them. She prepares them for a bomb drop and tells them her deepest, darkest secret that she fucks her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Bitch,
yeah.
we knew that.
Yeah.
We fucking knew that.
Mary Cosby's back there and she's like, yeah. Yes. yeah. I did think it was so crazy the way that Heather got like super emotional and sympathetic. And it's like,
no, this is a big secret. And I was
it's like, yeah, I understand that like talking about things are like hard in the Mormon culture, but then someone mentions like you wore a lingerie dress on camera, you drink on camera, and she literally says like, oh shit, or like, oh fuck, or something. And it's like, you just now realizing that you've done other things on this show that Mormons don't approve of? Right. Like, that's crazy.
I feel like, I don't think I'm the only one. I think obvious that she only said that because they were being mean to her.
Yeah.
And she wanted them to, like, she wanted to be, like, vulnerable or wanted them to, like, feel more sympathetic toward her. And so, like, it's not her deepest, darkest secret because she's sharing it on camera with a bunch of women who fucking hate her right now. It's just something that she can pretend is her deepest, darkest secret.
Right.
And I feel like that's obvious.
Yeah.
And it's disappointing that Heather is not aware of that.
Right. Whitney did say on the after show that this instance is not the first time that Brittany has recorded them. Whitney said that she has caught her another time. So
yeah. Great. This makes sense to me because didn't Meredith think she had bugged her room before the van ride? Mm-hmm. It's like when they were getting ready. Mm-hmm. Yes, because it was when yeah, it was when they were getting ready.
I don't know. No, I think it was after because I think she said to Heather, I'm a little weirded out. I don't know how she heard me. And then she says, and now with the recording, I'm starting to think blah, 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 blah.
But either way, I was like, girl, that is so fucking crazy. Like, of course she did. Like, one of my friends at work just started watching Salt Lake City, but she's on season 3, and she was asking me who I like, and it took me quite a while to pick someone. And I said, I think I like Meredith, I guess, a little. I said, but she thought someone bugged her room this week, which I was like, my biggest issue with Meredith is that I think she's delusional. Like, that's really the only thing I don't like about her. But now, like, if that's a habit of hers, is recording them in secret, like, maybe it's not so crazy.
Yeah, and we had talked about this when the season like trailer had come out that it seemed like it was going to be a big point of the season that like these girls they're wounded from the reality Von Tease thing, and they're going to be
Yeah.
really skeptical of new people, especially Heather is the way it made it look, and that they were going to be like very, like, you are letting someone do that when like we just went through what we went through.
Right.
And in the episode before the finale is when we first get this.
Right.
So it seems like maybe we've finally entered
Yeah.
that where like
Sammy,
they are very skeptical that like now that she's recording, is she using it to like post it places?
right.
Is she like whatever? And I think, yeah, maybe that's why like Meredith went a little bonkers and thought that it was bugs, because she's like, no more reality Montees, bitch.
Right. Sammy said this, and then Andy Cohen also kind of said it on Watch What Happens Live. He's like, why do they care that they're being recorded if they're on camera for this show? And I said, like, I think it just feels like an invasion of privacy. Like, they consent to being recorded by the show, but having someone record it and then to have that to potentially use against them or post before the show airs,
Right.
it feels different. And then, like, on top of that, for these women specifically, they just went through that.
I also think that, like, yes, I would say one of the things might be fear of like it being leaked before, but I also think that like these women are actually friends.
Right.
And I think what that shows is that like they are thinking about this as an actual friendship, and they're probably actually thinking, we're already fucking on camera.
Right.
Why do you need a backup recording on your phone of us saying this? You are our friend.
Exactly.
I will say though, I kind of got the vibe that like she maybe thought like she was doing Bronwyn a favor, like catching Lisa saying things. She was going to record it. Like I think she thought she was doing something cute, like we're going to prove something later, and then it just did not go well.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also on the after show, they were talking about apparently Brittany claims, because people had been saying like she just wanted on the show, she's a fan, like she watches the show, whatever. And she claims that she has never watched the show because it is well known that she does not have time to do that. But one of the women said that they saw one of their confessional photos in her phone's photo album. So not that that means she watched it, like you can just get the photos, but it's like you are obsessed with this show. Right. And why are you collecting videos, photos, whatever to put in your photo album?
Like they're Infinity Stones.
If they are your actual friends. And I think that's what they're getting at, is like, if we have a real friendship, like that's weird. Like you're treating us like stars of a show, which is what happened with Reality Von Tease, and we don't trust your shits.
Yeah.
So, final Salt Lake City news is that Whitney is now a redhead, and she is having to fight off rumors that her and Justin have broken up. She said,
"Yeah,
we good, rock on."
What did you think of her reasoning for becoming a redhead?
I don't know what it is.
Oh, they asked her why she became a redhead, and she said, "For my daughter, and in solidarity with all of the redheads who are bullied every day."
Okay.
I was like,
interesting.
Sure.
Yeah, whatever.
Because if she had stopped with for my daughter, because then she said, like, I tell my daughter every day that like her natural red hair is beautiful, so like I'm trying to practice what I preach. Like I think red hair would be beautiful on me too. If she had just stopped at that, but like for every redhead who's bullied,
whatever. Well, thanks for sticking around if you did for our 2-hour episode back. Like Mary said, we have new merch. We also have a good, popular, multi-part case coming up for our true crime case for the next few weeks. So check us out there, and Yeah. Thanks for hanging.
Bye.
Bye.
I can't figure out if I'm hot or cold.